going on, everybody? This is Mattdoesfitness, and a guy calls up 911 and says, "Quick, my wife's having a baby, I don't know what to do." And the operator says, "Don't panic, is this her firstborn?" And the guy says, "No, it's her husband." Okay, this is my squat highlights from week 1 of my 5th cycle. So this is the first squat session you'll see me doing in the new gym, and this week pretty much picked up where I left off from, in that I smashed it. First session, the one you're seeing here, I went for 5 sets of 5 at 424 pounds, 192.5 kilos, and I bloody got it. Now, it was a pretty massive effort. I mean, I felt strong, the weight felt okay, as it has done for a long time now, but in terms of overall fatigue, I was struggling. Obviously, with test week and the deload week prior to that, it meant I hadn't done kind of a, like a volume based squat session for the best part of 2 weeks. So yeah, after this I was absolutely destroyed, but it's the first week back, I want to get the work in, so oh thanks mate, so I went for it, and like I said, I felt really good strength wise. I've just carried on from where I left off. If you saw my squat PR from last week, if you didn't see it in fact, go and watch it now. What is wrong with you? But yeah, if you saw that, obviously I have been for a while, but I'm just hugely confident as far as my squats go right now, because they just keep going up. I'm kind of, hopefully it won't happen, but I'm kind of waiting for a plateau, and at the moment it's just not happening. I've literally had, I reckon I've had probably 2 months now of just literally continuous progression. Every single session the weights are going up, and it's crazy, and I'm loving it. What I think I've learned is that whereas with my deadlift, I was for a period of time up until recently, basically I was training pretty much maximally every single session. I was trying to go for PR triples and stuff, and that obviously hasn't worked out, as you saw from the testing. Whereas I think what's happened with squats, where I've made such quick progression in terms of my PRs, my session, the weights I'm doing for the sets of 5 and the sets of 3 are still kind of on the way up. So I still have more to go, if you see what I mean. So I didn't pitch it too high, and so I've got space to go, which I think I'm kind of learning now is the way to go. It's not, you don't want to be doing absolutely maximal weights every session. It sounds obvious, but I've done that in the past, because then you have nowhere to go from there. You can't continuously expect those weights to go up when you are working at your max, because it physically won't happen week on week. Whereas if you're working sub-maximally, you have more there, and that's what I'm learning, and that is what is happening with my squats, and it is incredible. Now what I thought I would do is just do the rest of the video in Morse code, so here we go. Joking, although those of you that are fluent in Morse code probably enjoyed that. One of the best jokes I'd ever made. This is my 5th set now, and yeah, I guess you could argue they're kind of grinders, but I not at any point did I feel even remotely close to not getting a rep. I knew I had every rep. One thing I have noticed, because here I've got a mirror in front of me, which initially I didn't really like, but now I think is a good thing, because I can obviously check my form when I'm not obviously doing kind of PR attempts. I've noticed that my right knee doesn't track as wide as my left knee, which makes, from the back, it makes my squat look a little bit uneven. So I'm going to try and correct that, just keep my right knee a little bit wider. It shouldn't be a massive deal, but obviously I have to kind of work on it over time, because I've been doing that for a while, which partly could be down to the horrendous mountainous floor I've been using in my previous gym. Anyway, after the 5 sets of 5, I removed my belt, removed my sleeves partially, and did some front squats, 242 pounds, 110 kilos, 3 sets of 5, which is obviously very light, but the state that my legs were in, I was in no position to do any more than that. My quads were absolutely annihilated. My quads, and to a lesser degree my hamstrings and glutes, just, yeah, took an absolute pounding. Anyway, after that I did some accessory work. So I did some rows on this machine. Now the machines in my new gym are so good. I'm absolutely loving life. As far as bodybuilding goes, I've got every aspect covered there because they've got so many machines. And as is the case with this one, pretty much all of them you can work unilaterally. So with this one here, if you want to, you can put one of those handles down and just do one at a time, which is obviously, for me, I'm not a massive fan just because I'm lazy. I like to do things two at a time, but you have the option. I've done it occasionally. It does feel really, really good. You can obviously really focus on isolating the muscles you're trying to hit. And I finished the session with some reverse flies on this machine, which I absolutely love. If I was a resistance machine myself, and I was looking to make love to another one, this would be the one of my choice, without a doubt. In a more of a normal scenario, if I was just buying a machine for a gym that I owned and I could only get one, I would get this one because I really, really like it. Obviously, you can do chest flies and you can do reverse fly, so you're hitting your chest, hitting your rear delts. It's nice and even, addressing those imbalances. I'm a big fan. Anyway, that was the first session, and here is the second session. Now, this one again was an absolute beauty. By this point, so this was done on the Friday, the first session was done on the Monday, my soreness had started to subside. So if you watched my deadlifts the other day, I was incredibly sore for that session. By this session, the soreness, I was still sore, but it was not as bad as it has been. So I was able to get some decent work in. I went for 5 sets of 3 of 446 pounds, 202.5 kilograms, which, as with the first session, was a rep PR for me. So 2 rep PRs in a week. I will take that. And again, I felt really good. And because it was 5 sets of 3, I quite enjoy these sessions because the fatigue, that kind of tiredness is not there. I feel, in between the sets, I feel good. I feel nice and fresh. And like I said, although I was a little bit sore, the weight felt good. I was very confident of getting every rep every time. I kind of played around with the depth a little bit. A couple of times I noticed that I wasn't dropping quite so deep, and so I tried to let myself drop a bit faster and get that stretch reflex, and it felt quite good when I did. I think the issue I'm having, and you would have seen it with my squat PR from last week, is that when the weight gets heavy, it's almost subconscious, but I start to drop down a little bit slower. And when I do that, I don't tend to go quite as deep, and then therefore I don't tend to get that stretch reflex. So it is very much a case of just kind of reminding myself to do it each time, because when I do drop a little bit faster, although it is slightly deeper, I get the stretch reflex, which I think kind of counteracts that. And so yeah, I think it is probably worth doing. Anyway, yeah, so this was a PR for me, and again, I'm very, very pleased, and it's more progress. I mean, this session I was doing not too long ago with about probably 400 pounds, about 180 kilos or so, not that long ago. So to be getting it now for what would have been, I mean, this would have been a PR for a single for me not very long ago. I mean, I'm talking a matter of, a couple of months ago. So the fact that I'm now getting it for 5 sets of 3 and a pretty comfortable 5 sets of 3 is obviously very, very good news. You notice there as well, you might have noticed, if you are incredibly nerdy and very kind of good at picking up things with the use of your eyes. The first set I was not wearing my iPod, didn't have my headphones in, and then for the next 4 sets I did. Now in this part of the gym they play, I mean, there's music on in all of the rooms, but in this room in particular it's nice and loud, and sometimes they have an awesome, I mean, to be honest, if I wasn't so lazy, I could just bring my stuff and probably play my own music through that, which would be awesome. But yeah, sometimes they have really, really loud, really awesome kind of psych up music on, and when that is the case, I don't feel the need to wear my iPod. But on this occasion it wasn't so great, so I thought I'd wear it. But that is something that if I remember to do, I could just plug my iPod in and play it over the speakers, which would be quality if I was doing like a PR attempt, for example. Anyway, got all 5 sets of 3, felt good, and that was that. Now, this is a new addition to my program. What I'm doing in the second squat session for my accessory work is some speed deadlifts. So I'm doing 5 sets of 3 at 287 pounds, 130 kilos, which I think is about 55% or so of my max, 55, 60, around that range. Just light enough that you can move it fast, but obviously it's still taxing. And I'm hoping that's going to help get that speed off the ground that I'm obviously lacking. And then more deadlift accessory work. I did some glute ham raises. In the deadlift video you would have seen, presumably, I felt my form was a bit rubbish. I hadn't quite got to grips with them. Here it's better. I've been adjusting the plates and everything to get it all right. I'm still working on it, but here I think it's a lot better. You notice, my back stays pretty straight, so from my head down to my bum is a straight line, which is what you want as opposed to the big arch. And yeah, I'm coming a lot higher up. Before I wasn't really getting up to that height, so that is obviously a bonus, but it's still very much a work in progress. I did 3 sets of, I think, about 10 of those. Although, now let me know if this is the case for you as well. It was excruciatingly painful on my quads. Just the fact that all my weight was kind of, you know, obviously the pads were digging into my quads. It was horrendous. Like, I wanted to cry. That was the closest I've been to crying in a long time. It was so painful. So I'm assuming that will just go away as I adapt, but let me know. I mean, do you get that as well? Am I just being a massive girl? I'd like to know. Anyway, I then did some rows, which are a little bit of a kind of a decline row, I guess you could call it. I did 3 sets of 12ish of those, and I finished the session with some old school preacher arm curls on this little setup, which I do like, and it's much better than what I had at my old gym, where it was all bent and twisted and rubbish. 3 sets of 10 or so of those, and that, my friends, was my session, and that was my week. So, hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Please like, comment, share, subscribe, as always, and I will see you in my next video tomorrow.